Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It is Doc and Mav with ReadySetCrypto. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of June. Welcome aboard. If you could do us a favor as you log in, please do two things for us, if you please. First of all, give us smash the thumbs up, right? Smash it. Go ahead, because the more you do that, the more it lets other people know what's going on, and so we can get a good active group in here today. Got to get a little salt in there. And secondly, let us know where you're coming in from today. And would love to know where you guys are coming in from. So, yeah, mash it, bud. So we'll get started here in just a minute. And, once we get everybody rounded up, and Mav will get us started, and we will also do a request section on the charting as well, too. So let us know what coins you want. All right, who else we got there? We got Robert coming from California. We got Vod coming in from Camelot. Camelot? 'Tis a silly place. We have McMahon coming in from Germany. Dinesh, South Africa. We have Stephen from Alberta, Canada. Ralph in Liechtenstein. Fantastic. I would love to know what the population of Liechtenstein is. That country is almost like a trivia question, but would love to know more about it. Let us know. All right, we got Redu. How are you doing out there, Mav? What's going on in your world?
Oh, just watching the market kind of tread water. No, it's good. I think we are, I don't want to say back to anywhere positive, but I mean, gosh, versus a couple of weeks ago when things were just so dire. Yeah, again, not out of the woods yet, but at least we're not like teetering over the cliff like we were. It seemed like, I don't know, just every time we see the market kind of get to that sort of depressive state. I mean, it's good for buying opportunity, but it's just not fun to be around, right? It's, yeah, people get pretty emotional in these markets. I hope that's not a controversial statement. No, I think we're just kind of in a holding pattern a little bit. Nice little bounce up and down this week in relation to stuff like crypto regulation and PayPal news about them accepting or being able to send to crypto wallets and stuff like that. It just minor stuff as far as I'm concerned. Nothing that's going to move earth and heaven as it relates to crypto's stance against the major macro backdrop. But like, hey, progress is progress. And I think that's, we look at this bear market, we can look at it as a build market. We can look at it as a beer market, Yeah, it is definitely a time that things are getting just we're calming down with the hype cycles. We're focusing on stuff that matters, like Ethereum's upcoming merge, Cardano's hard fork, these sort of like things that are going to help us progress the space and move us in a direction I think is going to be positive. Just right before we went live here, I published a new video. I recommend you go check it out if you haven't done so already after the stream. Just kind of concerning some of the top Web3 projects that we're watching right now. And you're going to see more of this from us going forward, not just Web3, some of the other cool sectors in crypto. We're just going to get a lot more intent on, hey, let's cut through the noise. Let's tell you what we think about some of these projects and these kind of emerging, upcoming subsectors of crypto, such as Web3, Metaverse, DeFi, etc. And I think what is unique about ReadySetCrypto, what we'll be able to demonstrate to you, is that I come from a lot of the fundamentals background. I'm going to look at it as top to bottom, as it relates to team, as it relates to what they're doing, the tokenomics, all that sort of stuff. That's the stuff I geek out on because I'm a big nerd. But Doc looks at things from more of the charting perspective, and I think getting a sense as to like left hand, right hand, right brain, left brain, whatever. Just getting that sort of mix of interpretations as to like, yeah, maybe a project is fundamentally sound, but like in Doc's opinion in the charts, it just is a big old turd. That's important, I think, and it helps you get away from these just FUD and FOMO cycles and better walk the line of like rationality and cutting through the noise and being as informed an investor as you can be in the crypto space where things are changing every day. So yeah, if again, if you haven't seen the video, definitely go check it out after the stream. I think it's pretty good, if I don't say so myself. But that's most of what I'm seeing from my perspective, without digging into the market data or anything like that. But yeah, I think we're getting into the summer months here. Summertime is kind of sometimes a lull in the space, but it's usually when we get towards the end of summer that things start to pick up again. Obviously, August is kind of looking like the time we're gonna see Ethereum do its thing. I don't know that, it's been pushed back so many times. I'm not gonna try to predict that accurately, but at least the difficulty bomb is at 23 days right now. So hopefully that kicks something off. And otherwise, I think just kind of looking at the markets and what's going on in the crypto space, I'm seeing an emphasis on stuff like DAOs with the Optimism airdrop last couple days. And I'm seeing more activity around layer 2 type stuff. So there's a great website out there, l2beat.com. Why don't I show, not tell? Sorry. And this is great because it, oh, cool. It is a good tracker for like what's going on in the layer 2 space and some of these layer 2 scaling solutions that I think is going to be a big part of the next sort of iteration of crypto, especially as we go through, call it the triple halvening, call it the merge, call it ETH 2.0, whatever. Clearly the space is moving towards more interoperability, more scalability. Seeing the latest projections of like what the gas prices are going to be for ETH, and it's pretty cool. I think it's going to move the space forward in a way that is, it's progress. It is the sort of thing that helps to push us forward and move us in a direction that is beneficial. Very, very cool to see. So yeah, there's this other site, Whenmerge.com. Highly recommend you bookmark that one so you can watch along. And yeah, I think where the market's at right now, nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting. If we look at the weekly, it's been kind of a wishy-washy week. So at least we've got that. But yeah, looking forward, I think we're also kind of tracking just how the space is developing from like an investment perspective. Certainly the regulation news this week, well, I did kind of dismiss it a little bit there because nothing's getting through Congress these days as far as I'm concerned. It's cool to see crypto regulation that is so forward thinking and call it grown up, if you will, just treating it, in a way that I think is going to be beneficial. It's going to unlock the potential of the crypto space when we can get proper regulation here. If you haven't looked through the crypto bill, again, not saying it's guaranteed or anything, but I think it's interesting to see the perspectives of like how they're, not classifying crypto as a security in a broad sense anymore, kind of divvying up the responsibility between the SEC and the CFTC and, what is defined under the Howey test versus not, that sort of stuff I think is cool. And then we also saw another bill to force Congress people to disclose crypto holdings over $1,000 worth. That would be wonderful to see, get a little bit of the dark money out of politics. But, this is where we are in this sort of day and age, is like we are looking for these sorts of little wins, even if they aren't anything more than a symbolic one. I think it's still something that is worth chalking up as like, hey, this is that much better than yesterday. We are moving that much closer to the goals of crypto being open and transparent and regulated. I mean, anyone who watched what happened in crypto over the last month with the whole Terra saga and the Do Kwanzi scheme that followed with the relaunch and stuff like that. Again, sorry if that personally affected you, and hopefully you don't see anything else like that in the future. But regardless, I don't think anyone, especially outside of the space, could have seen that and said, wow, this crypto space is doing just fine by itself. Maybe it could benefit from a little bit of oversight, but what that means is that, hey, let's have it work with the proper guidelines and measures so that crypto is going to do what it's going to do. But I think we could benefit with a little bit of, just moving in a direction. I think that's going to be positive. So anyways, what I'm seeing from my perspective today is just, nothing too crazy, but nothing too negative either. I think if going to the topic of today's video, before I turn it over to Doc, if we're looking at to where Bitcoin's going next, I think we're still in a holding pattern of not trying to fight the Fed, trying to at best speculate when they're going to turn more dovish, start getting off this, fallacy that they've somehow deluded themselves into believing that they can, fix the inflation problem just by, pumping the brakes on the economic monetary policy and all that sort of stuff. We're just watching that. And I think that's going to be the major driving force this year, unless we have some other major thing come up. So unfortunately, or fortunately, we're beholden to that. And I think we can use that as a time to breathe, assess our positions, look for opportunity, assess kind of where crypto is going, and just be reasonable about it. Lay off the FOMO juice for a little bit, and try to take things a little bit more rationally. And I think you'll be happier for it. So anyways, Doc, what do you think? Where do you think Bitcoin's going from here?
Well, I don't know. I do think that there is some correlation with what we're seeing with other risk-based assets such as the NASDAQ. Now, some of that correlation's been a little bit more loose lately, but I mean, we've certainly had an equivalent crash since the beginning of the year, and the NASDAQ has been down 30%. Bitcoin obviously has dropped, well over 50%. It's just a more volatile asset. Mm-hmm. And, but I think what we also learned was right now, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, even though at the heart they should be, are not necessarily an inflation hedge or anything like that. But neither is gold. I mean, if you look at gold, gold has not really kept up its end of the bargain. So this is what financial markets love to do, is the most unpredictable thing. When everybody is heading in one direction, financial markets decide to go in the opposite direction. I've been dealing with this every day for the last 17 years, and there is no linearity to it. There's no logic to it. A lot of people have a problem, like they come to this space and say, hey, I was taught that 1 + 1 = 2. And, they sort of get this from the, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger style of investing where, everything is, just a number on a spreadsheet, and you can, project forward returns based on something. No, you cannot. You cannot project forward returns on anything. So with that in mind, let's go over to the charts. Let's take a look. And if you guys have any other requests, please let me know. We're going to run through this really quick and, see what kind of dust we can scare up. Okay, over to the charts. Let me verify. Okay, so Bitcoin versus the US dollar right now is in what's called a bear flag. This is a consolidation pattern. And typically what we see is the first leg or the flagpole, the flag sits up, and then that's kind of a halfway house. So by this, we would expect this to break to 20,000. Now, that's the pattern. That's the chart pattern. There's no guarantee that it's going to do that. Now, something else which I think is cool, though, is if you look at the fractals for this, the weekly chart was showing exactly the same thing. This is a weekly bear flag. That was the initial flagpole. Here's the flag releasing to that. It almost got to target, but I think if the daily flag, which is this little one down here, releases, then we will get down to target. This will be the measured move, which is going to be down to about 20,000. And that makes sense because that falls in with this swing test back here. So I think from a technical perspective, I think eventually we may hit 20,000, but there should be hellacious support floor down at that level. If there's not, I'm going to be surprised. So it's almost, we should expect to see, almost as if you touch your hand to a very hot stove, we should see a reaction off of there. And we should build up a lot of very late to the party shorts should pile on here at this point and say, oh, the easy money is to the downside. And that should create enough fuel to get this thing to squeeze. So what you'll find is that bear markets like this do have very strong rallies inside of them. In fact, I think the adage is that if you look at a bear market, the majority of the candles are actually green. But it's just when the red ones show up, they can be horrendous to the downside. So watch for something like this in the short term. We may indeed get that. But what I will say is that when everybody is looking for the same thing, everybody's seeing the same thing and projecting the same thing, quite often the opposite will occur. So this is why we do have in our Omnia service, we have a buy point up here just above 32 and change, because if that does show up, then this becomes a higher low, higher high combination. This may get up to 38. So this could shoot up to 38 before anybody realizes what's happening. Now, I would say at this point, this is a trade. This is a trade. This is not where you jump onto this and you hold this for the rest of your, known years. This is a trade. So I would sell this if it does break through here and gets up to 38, because I think this will be a difficult wall to get through on the first try. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Now let's get over to some other coins that you guys are looking for here. So got a request to look at Hex. We're going to look at Hex versus Tether in this case. Oh, and it's not a pretty looking chart. So we can look at this again. If you have trouble understanding what, this is the same kind of thing here. This is that bear flag setting up to the downside. It's releasing. So if you have trouble understanding which direction to trade in, just go over to the chart and pull up Heiken Ashi candles. These are the Japanese trend-based candles. And as long as they're red in the weekly chart, stay away from it. Stay away from things that are red in the weekly chart. Okay, so that is just a tip or a trick, or, I guess the better answer is to learn price action with me. Okay, next one is FTM. USDT. Let's look at FTM versus the dollar. Let's look at that. Okay, another flag pattern. We're going to see the same thing showing up just about everywhere. Flag, release, flag, release, flag, release. So something else that you can do is just set up a trend line, connect all of these important lower highs, and as long as it's below there, as long as it's below that trend line, stay away from it. Stay away from it. If you have your bags that you're carrying down, it's almost like you're, look, if you jump off the ship and you're holding your luggage, you might want to let it go. Otherwise, you're going to sink as well, too. Okay, so that's FTM. And, don't take these personally, guys. This is just me looking at the price, not giving any valuation at all. Okay, let's see. That was FTM. Wheat F. I've never heard of Wheat F. I would say that's going to have to be as close as I know. I don't know if that's what you're looking at here, because I couldn't find any other Wheat F on here. That's the closest thing I could find to wheat. Wrap Dave X over wheat? No. Yeah, that's it. That's if I can't find it under TradingView, I can't find it. Okay. Hey, yo, Tales from the Crypto. Okay, so let's look at Thorchain, which is Rune. Okay, so let's look at this one. And once again, if we go over to the weekly chart, we see a pretty nasty weekly swing down here all the way from, what is this, March March of 22. So this one's been difficult. Okay, no change here. Stay away from this one as long as it's under the trend lines. Yeah, I can't find wheat F. So unless that's a stock, if you want me to look at an equity, I can do that. I'm assuming that anything that's in here is a crypto though. Let's see. Hey Joaquin, how you doing? EVMOS. Okay, let's try this one. Whoa, okay. This one is it's got a very recent born on date. So unless this one just got listed over here at BitGet, I don't have much on here. So I can't do any kind of analysis on here. So this is so brand new. Okay, Rajith wants to look at Cardano. Now this one's interesting. I like this because you're seeing what could be, and this is what we also have this on our Omnia service as a potential buy. Because what we have here is all of these lower highs are setting up, okay? But what has to happen to reverse this is it has to put its foot in the ground, print a higher low, followed by a higher high. So you can make the case that this is a daily uptrend. Now, if this breaks above the trend line and above this price pivot at 70 cents, and if it's got some volume to it, this could be a very, very early long entry at 70 cents on Cardano. Very, very early. Now, what's the likelihood that this is going to fail? Probably pretty high, but are you willing to risk that? So this could be a great entry if it's able to get there. What I would do just to keep yourself clean is I would wait for a daily close above this level, a daily close above 70 cents. That will keep you from, one of these candles that, it reaches up during the day and then comes back down. And under those rules, you would have to sell back out of it if it falls back into the pattern. So if you want to avoid that, wait for a daily close above 70 cents. Okay. And let's see. Jay Digger is looking for Virtue Poker Points. Okay, VPP. Hey, Mav, you down with VPP?
Oh, you know me.
I've been waiting years to use that joke. Okay, so Virtue Player Points and Wrapped Ether. This one is, I guess what you'd say on here, we had a parabolic decline. I mean, people couldn't get rid of this fast enough, and it's starting to base out. We will see this. A lot of what we saw during 2020 was a lot of this basing. This is called a coupled handle. So when things base out like this, and then they start to break above this level, this oftentimes gets to be very violent. So watch for the basing on a lot of things. So I believe also that we're going to see this sort of basing pattern over the course of the next few months. When crypto finally bottoms, we'll see the basing there, and then we'll see just one of these after another, after another, after another with just these coupled handle patterns. Okay, so let's head back to the middle here. Okay, would you do that with a post-limit order? What you could do is you could do that with Joaquin, I don't do that with a post-limit order. I would just wait until, if we do get a daily close above 8 o'clock, I would probably just, set myself a timer. So that would be, that's when GMT rolls over for me. So I would just set a timer. If it's an inconvenient time for you, normally, look, the entry is so aggressive that if you did get it on down there, even if it's the next day or the next morning, you're still going to be super early to that entry. So, all right, I think we've cleared up everything. So unless there's any other questions, Mav, is there anything that came in for you while I was yakking away here?
Well, let's definitively make the, I don't know if to call it a bet or a gamble prediction, but just a gentleman's bet of where do you think Bitcoin's going first, 40K or 20K?
To me?
Yeah, I think 20K. What do you think?
Well, then I have to take the opposite side of that.
Price is right. Yeah.
Right. So I think that we will hit 38K first, and then we'll hit 20K. So I just have to hit the opposite side of that just for fun. So, but I honestly, I could see either one of these playing out. I could see either a break up or a breakdown. Nobody knows. I don't care who on YouTube you follow out there. Nobody knows what's going to happen even tomorrow. So you can follow all the, Willy Woos and Raoul Pauls and all those guys and, whatever they think is going to happen. Nobody really knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So just set up, this is why you use what are called Darvas boxes. If the price breaks above it, then that's your long signal. If the price breaks below it, that's your short signal. So nobody ever knows which way this is going to go.
It's true. That said, I do think, even though I am taking the short side of things, I think it's much more likely that Bitcoin will hit 50K before it hits 10K. So, all in a stride. But hey, yeah, it can go anyway.
I'd actually personally love to see it drop like a stone down to 20,000, but like bounce like crazy right off of that point. So I'd love to see the panic, because panic and capitulation normally come with market bottoms. If you look at every long-term market bottom, when was the last true market bottom that we got on BTC? It was down at 3,500 or whatever it was at March of 2020. It's the panic capitulations form those market bottoms. So something really crappy has to happen in the near future, which is painful short term, but ultimately long term. Those that can see through it, can see through the fog of war, will have the opportunity. So if you'd like to be part of us seeing through the fog of war, you're welcome to join us as well. Segue over to you, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good sort of proposition, especially as like, you go through these cycles a couple of times and you get the battle scars, yes, but you also get a little bit of the muscle memory, sort of like the awareness of like, yeah, if we did go through another, if we had another COVID or something like that, oh gosh, I don't know, something to that degree.
Monkeypox, let's go for that one.
Oh yeah, please. Something that is that disruptive, happens again, because of course the media loves that kind of stuff. They're their coffers are starting to run dry, so they need something to scare up. Anyways, I'm kidding. But if something like that happened, I think the markets, like, it's just, there's too much in the rear view mirror right now for us to really consider. Just like everybody is pretty acutely aware of, especially if you've been through multiple of these cycles, you've been in crypto the last couple of years, for a fact that, like, yes, over time, while Bitcoin and crypto are really damn volatile, over time they go up and to the right, as is the law of everything. No, but like, especially in this case, I think we have a lot of good reasons for taking a long-term approach to things, and just cutting through the noise of like, it might go down, it might go up, but like, regardless, we're in here for the long run. We're here for the, taking the big picture approach, and we're accounting for things that, it's good to watch what's happening in the moment, but like, don't let that affect your long-term approach to things. Don't let your plan be interrupted just because of short-term, inconvenience, if you will. So, that all said, I think we are on our way out. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of this. And as always, if you're not a member of our, for one, Discord and ReadySetTrade channels, those are free to join. And they've got tons of great resources on there. Daily chat, Doc is constantly populating like trading sage wisdom in ReadySetTrade over there. So If that is at all your purview of like wanting to trade better, wanting to use this downturn to, call it a build market, call it a beer market, call it a be better market. I don't know. Whatever it takes for you to come out of this swinging so that you are well positioned when the markets do eventually move in a direction that makes all the tourists come back. That's what Doc's going to help you with. And especially if you're looking to see what's going on a daily basis, Doc and I are putting out a daily Omnia newsletter, just kind of discussing what's going on in the markets, what to watch. Like I said earlier, we're going to start looking at it from my perspective of fundamentals versus Doc's perspective of technicals. And I think it's a pretty valuable blend of perspective and ways of looking at it. And it helps cut through the noise of might be good on one side, not so good on the other.
Yeah, Mav tells you what to buy. My focus is on when to buy it, when to sell it. It's really that, so we're kind of that bipolar approach to things.
Oh, you're
very
bipolar.
I don't know if that's the right word for it. But.
Yeah. No, I think it's sort of multifaceted perspectives. I'm going to coin that or something. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I hope you're doing well out there. No matter where the markets go, we'll be here to help and guide and provide wisdom or digital shoulder to cry on if, no, I'm kidding. But we very much appreciate you being a part of this community and watching our content and, just being participatory and like, hey, we're not here to bullshit you. We're here to tell it like it is. And I think there should be more of that. So thank you for supporting us through our endeavor to clean up the crypto markets. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Until the next one, take care out there, guys. Cheers.
Hey, everybody be good. We'll see you around.